I look like I'm in a vampire lair. All it is my studio. Maybe that's a sign. Maybe I need an actual vampire lair. Hey guys, how have you been? What's going on? Leave me some comments below. I've missed you very much. You know, just a lot. You know, like nothing bad. Just trying to finish up the estate. It's still hanging on by a thread, you know? I wanted to come on here and do a short, fun video and talk about the elephant in the room, which is the red hair phase that I'm currently in. It is a wig. We can still see my blonde hair. I don't even have, this is a lace front human hair wig, but it is not glued down, so you can still see my blonde hair. So I want to talk about this sort of red hair journey that I've been on. And because there's going to be some changes that happen, and I don't want anyone to be freaked out or panicked. Let's back up to my youth, my childhood. So you guys know I've always loved Gwen Stefani and Marilyn Monroe, but I really always wanted to be a redhead. I have very dark hair. I'm indigenous. You guys know that. And the first time I really remember wanting to be a redhead was Ty from Clueless. In fact, I actually became a cosmetologist. One of the reasons I became a cosmetologist was because of Alicia Silverstone doing the makeover on Ty. I was like, I want to be that friend. I want to be that friend. So I actually became a cosmetologist because of that movie. But the scene when they're washing her hair out in the bathtub and it's blood red, there was something about that scene that I always wanted red hair. Now, my mom, of course, was like, no way. You know, like, red hair is really hard to maintain. I was also very young. I think I was in, like, middle school or elementary school when that came out. No, I was in elementary school. I was a baby. I was a baby. Anyway, so instead we compromised in 6th grade, and she let me go blonde, basically. I started highlighting it and eventually went all over blonde. About a year ago, I started buying red wigs, and I didn't realize how many shades of red there are in the rainbow, quite literally. And the problem is I was buying really cheap, like $20 synthetic wigs, like $20 here, $20 there, and I hated all of them. I didn't like any of the wigs. They were all very orange toned reds, okay? There is a difference. There's a huge difference. One of my girlfriends is also a hairstylist, and she's been on this journey with me when I really had this desire essentially last summer. So it would be summer of 2024 when I was like really getting into all my mom's Persephone books. And in the Persephone book, because she has a jillion, you know, the tale of Persephone and Hades is told many different ways, right? There's no right or wrong. It's just however you're interpreting it, whoever wrote the story is interpreting it. But basically, some of the stories I've read are when Persephone is abducted by Hades and goes into the underworld and essentially goes through her dark night of the soul experience. She goes in very blonde, and when she reemerges as Queen of the Dead, she comes out a fiery redhead or ruby red hair color, what have you. And when I started reading about that, I remembered back begging my mom to be a redhead. Like, I wanted to be a redhead before I wanted blonde hair. And then I was like, maybe I should experiment with this. I really believe that especially children on the other side, when they first incarnate, they notice things as time markers, right? So for me, watching Clueless and remembering the red hair scene, why was I so obsessed with that as a child? It's almost like you're closer to the other side when you're a child and you have like memory markers, and seeing that red hair sort of set me off in some way. So I thought, you know, maybe we should revisit that now that I am a hairstylist and I can maintain it. I understand red is hard to maintain. Luckily, I'm a cosmetologist. But, you know, I told my girlfriend who's a stylist, I was like, before I commit to this, I need to really make sure that it's something I want to commit to, because you can't just go back to blonde, you know, like you really, it could destroy my hair. I need to be very serious about this before I commit. Trying all these wigs, I'm trying all these different things because I'm like, we need to really experiment with this before it's committed. Because once it's committed, it's like a one-way portal. We can't come back. I would definitely be able to go back blonde it would just probably be a very long, rigorous process, right? To make sure that I keep the integrity of my hair. So do need to understand that red washes out very easy. You know, you have to maintain it consistently. And honestly, if I weren't a cosmetologist, I probably would never consider doing this color of red because it is so hard to maintain. Anyway, my girlfriend, you know, I've been buying these wigs and she's like, what do you think? And like, some are too purple, some are too orange. Nothing was really hitting the marker. And she was like, this was like February-ish? February of this year. She's like, why don't you just like, she goes, you have a ton of human hair wigs. Why don't you just take 1 or 2 of your human hair wigs and dye them or color them the actual color that you want, and then wear it for like a month or 2 before you commit. And I was like, huh, not a bad idea. So this was a human hair wig. It was blonde. It was platinum blonde. And I actually purchased Arctic Fox with my own money. Arctic Fox Wrath is the red that this is. Now, to me, this is still a little, I'm in a dark room right now, but this is a little too fire engine red for me still. I feel like if I went red, it would need to be a little darker. Now that I've learned about all of the different colors of red, because, I mean, and I'm a stylist, so I know there's lots of different shades of red, but it also needs to match your skin tone. I have very olive, cool tone because I'm indigenous, and the warmer reds just looked terrible on me. So I know I needed a blue-based red. So I tried it, and I told, you know, my girlfriend was like, you need to wear it for like a month or 2 before you actually commit to it, because it's going to be a process. I'm going to have to color my extensions and like, you know, uninstall, reinstall. It's going to be a thing. It's going to be a thing. And also, you can really only wash your hair once or twice a week, which is fine because that's healthy for you. You really shouldn't be washing it every day. Having those natural oils in your hair is good for your hair. But I'm only going to be able to wash it probably every 3 or 4 days because the red just will run out. And I'm going to have to start washing my hair in cold water. I'm probably not going to be able to take a shower and wash my hair at the same time. I'm going to have to rinse my hair separately, and I'm going to have to start depending on dry shampoo. So I was like, we need to really make sure, because this is a commitment. Now that we have been wearing her on and off, like the first probably 3 weeks that I had this on, if you're following me on Instagram, you saw me with some snarty remarks. I was really worried because with my blonde hair, I can wear any kind of makeup I want. Doesn't matter. I can wear purple, green, yellow, doesn't matter. With red hair, and specifically a cool toned red, I am limited with what I can do with my makeup. So I had to kind of talk to myself where I was like, if you go red, you're going to be sacrificing basically anything that you do with your makeup. Like, you can't just wear anything. Taupes, cool tone browns, cool tone, you know, beiges, gray looks really good, black, reds, mauves look really good, purple looks terrible. It looks like, you know, a dead Little Mermaid because my skin tone's so pale and white and cool. So if I wear purple, I look like a dead mermaid washed ashore. You know, and just certain yellow looks not good because it's too bright. Oranges are okay if they're more on the cool pink side. But I have to be careful. The warm tone shades are just totally out. I have not tried green because I'm scared to death I'm going to look like a Christmas ornament. Although I've been told that really deep, like shades of green, jade green, would look probably good with my green eyes and the red hair. So anyways, I have decided to commit to the red hair. I have. This is not a light decision that I've made. I've literally been thinking about this for ongoing a year. It is definitely Persephone inspired. I want to change actually the way I do my hair. I'm going to end up cutting kind of like, I don't want micro bangs. Micro bangs are like the short, but like bangs that are pretty much at or like a little bit below the brow. I'm going to have bangs. I'm actually going to start this process next week. So I just ordered all new extensions. I ordered 300 grams of weft extensions. Those will be in next week, double wefts. So I'm going to put a lot of hair in. And then I'm going to do K-tips on the sides so that it blends better. And then I'm going to have the bangs. So some of you guys get really attached to my appearance. And I know I've had a lot of people, sending me DMs on Instagram saying stuff like, look, I mean, this is how I have everything red. Persephone, burgundy, red. A lot of people on Instagram are like, oh my God, like blonde hair is your brand. So I've been taking photos and videos, for social media. And I think this is kind of part of the final stages of, I'm not going to call it a rebirth again. I'm going to call this a resurrection. Because I think this is the final form that I'm about to take after all of this shadow work and dark night of the soul that I've walked through. It was a lot the past few years of healing and active work that I've had to do on myself to sort of pull myself up out of the darkness. I mean, not to sound dramatic, but there were days healing from my mom's death that I didn't think I was going to make it. So in a way, me changing my image is going to be like crowning myself for victory, crowning myself for accomplishing the death, the darkness that I endured, that I survived, that I healed through. And I want to stand firm in the ground and say, hey, if I can get through the darkness that I got through, you guys can too. But when you reemerge on the other side, you are a different person. You are a completely different person. And that's the honest to God truth, which is why I sort of came on here. I went to sip my water and then didn't. I look at photos of myself with my blonde hair, and it's gonna sound crazy, but I don't recognize her. I don't vibe with her at all. Now, has this taken some time to get used to? For sure, because this is not platinum freaking blonde hair. You know what I mean? And I'm used to walking around with a level 12 hair. This is a new chapter. I am stepping into my queen vampire era, queen of the dead. Other things are going to change too. Like, I'm back on my fitness and weight loss plan. I had a little bit of weight left to lose, and I just hadn't buckled down to do it. I plateaued for like a year and a half just because I was focused on healing. So there's going to be a lot of things change, and I want to get some tattoos. I know that that's been something I told you guys for a while. I've never had a tattoo before. Of course, Kat is like, please let me go with you to get your first one. I'm like, and I found a couple of local tattoo artists that specialize in flower and or haunted theme tattoos. I'm not going to be getting tattooed from head to toe. Okay? This is not going to be anything visible, really. I don't think I do want one on my arm. Once again, Persephone inspired. I want to get vines, black roses, maybe dripping with blood here and there. This is sort of, yes, my transformation, but it's sort of my gift to myself for surviving. I would really love to get like a crown on the back of my neck with a knife through it, or like a sword, sort of me claiming my status back and claiming my life back. So I mean, there's going to be no neck tattoos. I might get a pomegranate tattoo behind my ear, little tiny back here. I do want to get some like vines and roses somewhere right here, not a big one, just a little one right here. I'm really into like the thorns and vines and roses. It's just very Persephone, and I feel like I'm totally embodying that in every way, every shape and form. And I have been, for the past few years. And talking to my friends, I mean, Kat, for example, she's got 2 full sleeves. One sleeve is Lord of the Rings, and her other sleeve is haunted, paranormal theme. And although I don't know if I'm going to do that route, some people have said, are you going to get Halloween haunted tattoos? I don't know. I think that what I'm going to get is going to be a little bit more, sacred in a way with the stuff that I want to get. And not everything's going to be shown. Not everything's going to be visible. A lot's going to be hidden. I actually have some scars on my body from different like surgeries that I've had over the years, and I'd like to get some tattoos to really just help my confidence. It's like a personal thing. Once again, these aren't going to be visible. It's more like on my back, like on my hip sort of area. So yeah, there's just going to be some changes happen. I feel like I am at my final stage, and I don't want to scare everybody because I'm coming back looking sort of like a completely different, completely new person, because I am. Because I am. I don't want to hear people in my comments, oh my God, you've changed. Yeah, no shit. If your mom was murdered, you'd probably be a little different too. You know, especially when you walk through that dark night of the soul by yourself. So I don't want to scare anybody, but I don't want guilt trips from anyone. A lot of my life, I feel like I've been caged. You know, my mom wouldn't let me get red hair. And I feel like now that I've embodied it, it's just really who I am. I never got tattoos because they were very much shamed. I was caged by my parents telling me that, you know, if I got tattoos, that would lead to one thing or another, and I'd, you know, get into drugs and all this stuff. Like, please get out of here. That doesn't, you know, tattoo does not tell you the type of character or person that you are. So I am in a very fearless era. I'm in a very freeing era. I'm in a very divine, embodied empowerment era where I'm stepping into the highest form of myself, and I've never been her before. So yes, I'm a little nervous, but I am not going to allow anyone to cage me anymore. And that includes producers, production companies. I have decided I'm putting the production on myself as far as Ghost Girl Diaries. I am not interested in seeking a production company in any capacity. I'm going to be doing it 100% on my own. In order to step into this highest form of myself, I am merging with my higher self. And I do not care what anyone thinks or says of how I look, feel, or present myself. I have done so much inner work and healing, and I've walked through so much darkness that nothing's going to stop me from being who I am. So if you leave comments, I don't like this version of you, I don't recognize you, I don't care. This is who I am. That's why I wanted to come on and talk about why I've been practicing with red hair for so long before I really, really committed to it. So, am I merging with my inner vampire? Maybe. I don't know. But I am crowning myself from healing, I'm graduating. I'm going into a new chapter of, I'm not healing anymore, I'm now living. And I'm living present, and I'm living my ultimate highest timeline. And I'm living completely unapologetically. So, that's where we're at. And I'm really excited to show and share this version of myself. It was weird because the last few years when I did go into healing, I did become a little bit more quiet and withdrawn. And I used to be really kind of probably a little bit obnoxious back in the day, you know, when I was doing my podcast and stuff. And I don't want to be that anymore either, but I do feel like my voice needs to be heard. I have a lot to say. I've been through the darkest parts of humanity, and I've lived and I've survived, and I'm now ready to share that. I'm ready to merge that with the spirit world, with the paranormal world, my experiences with the other side. It is now time to share that with all of you. It's time to get out there and investigate and sort of spread this word of helping people understand the other side. And I'm really embodying my 10th house of Aries. You guys know that I'm a Cancer rising. I have my 10th house in Aries. I have a ridiculous amount of placements there. My Venus is in Aries. My Lilith is in Aries. My Mercury is in Aries. My Midhaven's in Aries. My part of fortune is in Aries. And so I feel like I am now crowning myself as sort of my 10th house. I am embodying my 10th house. So I'm not here to scare anybody. I know that I've had to make circles and changes, you know, and I don't regret it. You know, for a while I sort of stepped away from the goth community because I was still peeling away layers from healing. And now that the The healing is done. This is the new me. So, I missed you. I'm back. I'm fierce. And I'm ready to conquer and take over the paranormal world, because a woman's got to do it, because so far the men haven't impressed. Love you.